Hey to Z, domain to genus here, and welcome to 11 Enlightenments. On this week's episode, walruses. Walruses are the third largest species of pinniped, a suborder of animals that include seals and sea lions. The two largest species are both those of the elephant seal. There is only one species of walrus, being the last living species of the Odibenidae family. This is split into the two widely accepted subspecies of the Atlantic and Pacific walruses. A third subspecies is also proposed for the population of Russia's Laptev Sea. However, this is more commonly known as the most western population of Pacific walruses. Of the two subspecies, the Pacific is generally heavier and theoretically larger than the Atlantic. The Atlantic walrus also have shorter tusks and snouts than the Pacific. The origin of walruses is thought to have come from the Atlantic Ocean between 500,000 and 800,000 years ago, when a subtropical ancestral species adapted to the Arctic conditions. They would later colonize the Pacific when the Inter-American Seaway was covered by ice. The word walrus's origin, though, is much harder to trace. There are several theories, all of which include the Dutch language. These range from Walvis, whale, and Walrus, shore giant, to the Old Norse's Hrossvalr, horse whale, being inverted in northern German to Walrus. The name not being of Latin descent, however, means the plural is walruses, not walri. Despite the name's origins, walruses aren't closely related to whales or horses, as the pinniped superfamily is thought to have diverged 50 million years ago, with their closest relations being bears and raccoons. The one bear which walruses often come into contact with is the polar bear. Whilst the large herds of walruses may make preying on them difficult, the polar bear has found a morbid way of hunting the young. That may include crushing them under a stampede of their panicked kinfolk. Walruses are also themselves predators, preying on shrimp, sea cucumbers, and scavenging carcasses of whales and other seals. Yet their favourite food are mollusks such as clams, which they eat by creating a vacuum with their tongue and sucking the meat out of its shell. The walrus finds clams and most of its prey by digging in the seabed with its snout and using its many vibrissae, whiskers, to identify any creature's presence. There may be up to 700 of these bristles in around 14 rows. They may grow up to a foot long each, but often get worn down by the foraging. Whilst searching for food, a walrus may stay submerged for up to half an hour and down to, at most, 80 meters of depth. Whilst not the greatest of pinniped divers, they may dive underneath ice floes with greater confidence, as their tusks allow them to maintain breathing holds and act as a hook to aid them in climbing onto land. Walrus are semi-aquatic, living on land for large portions of their 20 to 30 year life. However, walruses breed in the water. Bulls will surround a group of fertile females who are on land and have competitive vocal displays with each other. Females will then join the male who was most impressive and copulate. And with that, this has been 11 Enlightenments. See you next time.